Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'd like to show you how to make a quilt called Transitions. This is a pattern from Cozy Quilt Designs and it uses a jelly roll. So we're going to use this one from Hoffman Fabrics. It's all batiks. This is one of their bolly pops. The pattern has multiple sizes. I'm going to make the throw size. So I'm going to need 36 strips total, but you need some light and some dark, or two different colors, and that's because of the different color effects you've got here. The other things we're going to need are some accents, and then we're going to need setting triangles and border. The first step is to separate these into two different color piles. I'm going to stick with dark and light, and I think our dark will be some darker blue mixed with these darker brown fabrics, and then we'll count and see which color is going to go where in the top of the quilt. There's the two color stacks. We have 16 of the darker ones, 20 of the lighter ones. So the darker ones are going to be in the middle. We're going to go out towards these lighter ones. The next thing we need is two accents for each color group. For the light color group, I've got this one, it's very compatible with those, and this one, bringing in both of those light blue, light gold colors. For the darks, I wanted to see what the fabrics look like. That would make a nice accent. It blends all those colors. Dark brown would be nice. I've also got this one, which has some blue and some of the rust. And this is a nice rich one as well. That one actually brings out a little more of those colors. I think I will use these two for the dark accents. Now the accent fabrics, you want them to blend in. You don't necessarily want these accents to stand away from the groups that they're going with. That's why I picked these ones that will blend in. The jelly roll strips, they're going to stay whole. We don't even need to cut those. But all of these accent fabrics, they need to be cut into strips. So I'm going to go ahead and get them ironed and get them cut to size. What I've done here is stacked up all 4 of my batiks, and I can cut through all 8 layers at a time. You may want to just do them one at a time. You don't have to stack them up, but it'll save me some time, and I'm comfortable cutting this many layers of batiks. I'm going to use my plastic ruler here, make sure I've got a little bit of everything showing there, and then I like to put a weight on the end of my plastic ruler because that holds it in place so that when I cut, it's less likely to slip. I'm here at the sewing machine and I have all of my dark jelly roll strips as well as both dark accents. I'm going to take 2 of these strips. It doesn't really matter which ones you get, just get 2 different colors. Let's do a brown and a blue, and then we're going to take 1 of the accents and it's going to go between them, and we're going to make a strip unit. When you're making strip units with long strips that are cut the width of the fabric, you want to be careful that they don't stretch. So you could pin the top and pin the bottom and pin it once in the middle, or you can just start sewing, sew a little bit, and then grab them way far away from the machine here and make sure you don't stretch either one, and then just stitch right along the edge using a 1/4 inch seam. Because I grabbed way far away, I'm making sure that this doesn't get pulled in faster and this one isn't stretched. So just make sure they're both at the same tension, put them together, and stitch all the way down the edge. I like to finger press all of the seams. That makes it easier to iron later on. So I'm going to just press the seam allowances that way. So I'm kind of opening it up with my hands, and then I will anchor it with a finger here and then draw my fingertip or fingernail right down that seam. And I'm pulling it open with the kind of the palms of my thumbs there. And this keeps that nice and straight and it makes sure that we don't get it ironed with any valleys in it like that. We want it nice and open. Now we can add one more strip on this far side. I'm going to finger press this seam allowance in the same direction, exactly the same way. And then I'm going to proceed with all of the rest of these strips, making the same kind of units. 2 jelly roll strips and 1 accent, either this or this, right in the middle. The only thing you want to be careful of is if your accent is the same as one of your fabrics, you don't want to use this accent next to that, use the other one. All of those are done. And now I'm going to do the exact same procedure with the light jelly roll strips and the light accents. All of the strip units are stitched together, and even though I finger pressed them, I still want to iron them. So I like to spread it out on my ironing board and smooth it with my hand, make sure it looks nice and straight. Then I usually use a dry iron to make sure it's flat, and then I steam it. I'm back at the sewing machine, and I've got 2 of the strip units, one with this accent and one with the other accent. And I'm going to put them right sides together. And you want to put them so that the seam allowances are going in opposite directions. So this bottom one, they're going that way, the top one, we're going this way. And that's because we're going to sew these together and then cut them. And when those seam allowances are going in opposite directions, it's laying pretty flat because they're nesting. So I'm going to sew down this side, again being very careful that I don't stretch anything. And I'm simply going to spin it around and then sew down the other side. You might want to put a few pins in if you think something's going to travel or you want to make sure it's really flat. I've done quite a few of these, so mine tend to stay right where I want them to go, but feel free to pin it all the way along here if you like. I went ahead and stitched up all the light sets and the dark sets, and I'm going to show you how to cut this using the dark because it's a little easier to see because you can see my threads there. I'm going to use something called the strip tube ruler. You can use a big square ruler, but the strip tube ruler makes it a little bit quicker. We're going to use the 8-inch line here, and we're going to put it on the stitching line, not on the cutting line, on the stitching line. I've got to slide over a little bit because I've got a seam in my cutting board there. So that's going right on the line, and just hold it firmly and go ahead and cut a triangle. Then we're just going to pivot this around to the top using that same 8-inch line, again on the stitching line. We'll go ahead and cut another triangle. Now there may come a spot where you set your triangle down here and maybe the angle on this isn't perfect and you want to make a fresh cut along here. Here's what I do, because I have trouble, I can't cut left-handed and it's hard for me to cut down that way. I will line this up where I want it to go, and I will take another ruler and I will put it right up against this ruler. So hold this one down firmly and slide this one right next to it. Then put that out of the way and make your fresh cut here. That way you can do it all right-handed, all up against a ruler. Now we want to iron these open. You'll notice there's a little teeny bit of stitching on every block, and that happens not because you didn't sew accurately, it's just because we needed to get a whole 8 inches out of that. So all you do, there's like 3 stitches there, it's just going to come right out every time. You don't have to use a seam ripper or anything, just pull it. So I'm going to fold this open, press it with my hands, add some steam, and then cut off the little dog ears here so that they will not be too bulky in the corner of all of our patchwork seams. And I'm going to go ahead and iron up all of these. Then I'm going to cut the rest of the strip units, light ones, dark ones. They're all done exactly the same way. All the blocks are done, all the dog ears are trimmed off, and we're ready to lay out the quilt. I'm going to start with the center of the quilt, which is my dark blocks. The first row has 2 blocks. The second row has 3 blocks, and every block is facing the same way. So we've got those 2 accent fabrics. I'm always going to use this accent fabric on that side of the block, and that's because if you turned it around, it would hit itself and that wouldn't look very good. So we're going to put them all facing the same way. Once I've got all the dark blocks laid out, I'm going to start putting light ones around the edges. The light ones, we're going to put this accent on this half of the quilt. We're going to use this accent over this way. The light blocks are going to continue all the way around the outside, and there's even going to be a second row on both of the sides. Now, if the pattern's starting to look a little familiar to you, you may have seen the transitions video that we made about 6 years ago. It's one of the very first videos that we filmed. I went back and rewatched it, and honestly, it's a little bit hard to watch. We've gotten a lot better at doing the videos, so we thought you might enjoy seeing this made a second time as well. Once you have all the blocks laid out, you want to stand back and see if you've got anything that's real repetitive, or if your prominent blocks like that orange, to see if they're balanced. I don't think I like 1 here and 2 over there, so this one might be better somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to trade some of the blocks around so that I get the colors spread out. To fill in the edges of the pattern here, I've gone ahead and cut all of the side setting and corner triangles. So these side setting ones, they fit in all of these bigger spots all the way around, and then there's just 4 of these smaller triangles, and they go in all 4 corners. There, now the quilt is rectangular again, and we could go ahead and add borders after we get it all stitched together. So for borders, I wanted to pull out some of the darker colors from in there. So I'm going to do this kind of medium one here with some blue, and then I'm going to put this dark blue all the way around it, and I think that will frame it very nicely. To sew the quilt together, because it's on point, you have to think of your rows as diagonal. So the first row is just this corner piece. The next row is these 3 pieces. So all we have to do is line up this edge and stitch down here, and we'll just trim off those little bits as we go. Then we'll make the next row, and then once all the rows are done, we can sew those rows together, add the borders, and get it on the quilting machine. I've got the first couple of rows sewn together, and there's one thing I want to caution you about. When you do these seams here, you can't pull this open like that, because all of the grain of the fabric is going like this. So that would be along the bias. So you can kind of squash it in the direction you want it to go, but don't pull it this way. I will take all of these rows over and iron them individually, but I will iron with the grain of the fabric, which is the same direction that these seams are going. So it's okay to pull it like this, and it's okay to pull it like this. But if you start pulling it this way, your blocks will distort and your whole quilt won't lay very flat. So just be aware of that as you make the quilt top. I've got the quilt loaded up, and now I need to pick a thread color. I've got a variety of lights and darks here because I'm not really sure which one will look the best. Now this light camel color, it's going to blend right in. It's going to show a little bit in the dark ones, but not much. This is a brown with a hint of kind of red, and that matches my accent fabrics really well. That one blends pretty well. It shows up a little more than I would like in the light areas. This one, kind of a taupe, wow, it blends very well there. It's going to show a little there. Could go with dark if you want to have your quilting show more in the light areas. It's going to blend in the dark. This is a little bit more of a medium blue. It's going to show a little bit there. Probably won't show in the dark, and I think that's what I'm going to use because I would like the quilting to show some in these lighter areas. For the quilting pattern, I could use almost anything. There's flowers in the prints, there's leaves, but the border print has circles, and I'm going to use this bubbly pattern because that's going to make a nice overall quilting pattern that won't fight with any of the patchwork, and I think all the curves will look good with those straight lines going up and down. I've got the transitions quilt all done. I'm very happy with how it turned out. There's a lot of contrast between my dark middle squares and my light outside ones, and I love the combination of these side triangles with that little teeny border and then this very interesting fabric here. The quilting with the circles, that echoes this here, in the dark thread, that makes that light area a little bit darker and you can really see the circles. I think that enhanced it quite a bit. On the back side, I used a coordinating batik. Now you can't see the quilting at all there, but I always like to have a nice print on the back so when you flip it over, the quilt looks good. This is the smallest size that's included in the pattern. This one is 67 by 78. It's a perfect throw size, and I think I'm actually going to hang this up on a wall in my house because these are colors I'm using right now. But the pattern has a twin size, 78 by 88, and a king size that's 109 by 109. And so that would make a nice bed quilt because it's got that interesting pattern in the center and then it transitions out to different colors. One thing I want to show you, the accent fabrics. The accent fabrics just blend right in, but this dark one here especially gives it a lot of balance because it's in the same position in every block. The nice thing about the accents is they aren't quite as wide as the jelly roll strips, and that means when you stitch these blocks together, these don't match up on purpose, which makes it really easy to make your patchwork stitch together without having to try to match a lot of little intersections. Thanks so much for watching our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. Now at the end of every video, we like to do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a Drunkard's Path quilt. This is made with batiks, and it's made so we've got a big flower in the middle with this patchwork border around it. This can be made with charm squares or it can be made with fat quarters. We have a video that'll show you how, but today you can win it. All you have to do is click the link below this video that says giveaway. Enter your name and address and you might be the lucky winner. Now if you like our tutorials and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Happy quilting!